And viewers, welcome to another episode of This Week in Interview with your host and guide, Anthony Drago. It's always a pleasure to be with you on a Wednesday night at 8 p.m. And tonight is no exception. Tonight we are talking about a strong body. So welcome back to my regular listeners, those of you who make This Week in Interview part of your weekly schedule. I appreciate you. Thank you so much. I know there's a lot of stuff that competes for your attention, and so I appreciate that you put aside those 2 hours or 1 hour. Sometimes we indulge and go to two, but it's planned for 1 hour. You put aside that time to be with us on This Week in Interview. If tonight is the first time that you listen to This Week in Interview, welcome. I hope you like the time that you spend with us and that you will come back. You can find This Week in Interview on Facebook, on our Facebook page. This Week in Interview has its own Facebook page. Also, TDN Radio Facebook page, we're also there. And not everyone does Facebook, so we have tdnradio.net, where you can listen in case you're driving or you're occupied otherwise and you cannot be distracted. So you can listen on tdnradio.net. You can view us on tdntv.net. We're also on the other social media platforms. We are on YouTube, on TDN Network 1 on YouTube. We're also on Instagram and on the other media pages. So I invite you to share the link. Invite folks to tune in with us, because you know the information that we have on here is super, super valuable. Let's make sure that sufficient folks listen and tune in so we can create the movement that we want to create. And while you're on there, if you are watching us on Facebook or on YouTube, I want you to subscribe to our channel and hit that notification bell so that whenever we come on live, you will know that we're on. It's not only This Week in Interview, we have other exciting programs like Dissect and Island Therapy and Push Past 10 and all the other programming that we have on TDN Radio. You will get a notification when this programs begin and we're on. So subscribe and hit the notification bell. We want to say good evening to our listeners who are viewing us on our affiliate station in Dominica, RVR Jams Radio. They listen to us on DigiPlay channel 59. So if you know anybody in Dominica, tell them they can catch us there. Call them, text them, WhatsApp, so they can catch TDN Radio. This Week in Interview, as a matter of fact, on RVR Jams. It's on DigiPlay channel 59. And speaking of affiliate stations, we have a new station that's affiliated with us, and they're carrying This Week in Interview live. They're doing it tonight for the first time. So good night to our listeners, on SBE Radio in Toronto. They are the only Haitian, how do you say it, focused? Yeah, they cater to the Haitian audience, Haitian population in Toronto. You can get them on sbemusic.com. They're carrying This Week in Interview live, so we want to say a big shout out to them, and thanks to the management of SBE Radio for agreeing to affiliate with TDN Radio. So tonight we, as I said before, what do we have on tap? Well, I have a little surprise, a little sweet tidbit for you at the start. In the first 10 minutes of the program, we have the director of a wonderful production company, a theatrical production company called Tribal Innovations. Tribal Innovations Theater Company. They are based in New Jersey. And at the end of the month, at the end of January and the first week or so in February, they will be putting on a play. Very, very remarkable play. I attended the rehearsal last week and I was blown away. Young people, but they act so well and they bring the scenes to life. And so I invited the director, Mr. Jerome John, to come on and to introduce his theatrical company to you and specifically to talk to you about the play that he will be putting on. If you are in the New Jersey, New York area, I can guarantee you that you will want to see this play. It's coming on at the end of January into February. I saw the rehearsal and to truth be told, I cannot wait to see the live work on stage. I already suspect that I will be seeing it more than once. So let's give a very warm welcome to Jerome John. Thank you so much for coming on. It's a pleasure to have you.
Thank you so much for having me. It's greatly appreciated.
Yeah, certainly. And our listeners on this week in interview and on TV and radio know that the art and culture and just literary works and all of that is really an integral part of what we do here at TDN Radio and on this week's interview. I have brought on and I have had such wonderful conversations with so many artists about their craft and their products on this week's interview. And so tonight is a special treat for me. We only have about 10 minutes or so, but it's going to be a wonderful, short and sweet 10 minutes. So,
Of course.
Jerome, I want you to first of all talk about your theater company at Tribal Innovations. Let us know why because you seem very young, why you decided to go into that, take that huge, bold step and create your own production company.
Of course. Well, I've actually been in the performing arts for about 20 years. Started off in high school, and I started directing. I want to say back in 2016, and
Wow.
one of the things that I've noticed is that there weren't a lot of platforms for artists of color to showcase the talent, and it wasn't after until I directed Fences a few years ago. And then when I noticed this, I'm like, if no one's gonna take advantage of this and actually go out there and do this, I might as well do it myself. And I learned what I needed to learn, and that's where Tribal Innovations Theater Company started. And yeah, we started in 2017, and it was hoping to do some productions, but with COVID, that put a damper on things. But yeah, our main purpose is to pretty much set a platform for artists of color to showcase the talent and display it to the world and do it to the best of their abilities.
That is awesome. So you started in 2017 because you realized that you were in an area in an industry where there were not a lot of people that look like us, people of African
Exactly.
descent, to tell our stories, and so you decided to start Tribal. You spoke about a previous production called Fences.
Yes.
Take half a minute and tell us about Fences.
Oh, yeah, so Fences, I had the privilege of, it's written by August Wilson, a very well-known playwright in the States. And I had the honor and privilege of directing it in 2016. And with that, it was great because we had about 6 performances and sold out every night. And there's this award ceremony thing they have in Jersey. It's kind of like the Tony or the Oscars, but for community theater type
Mhm.
of thing. And we were nominated for 10 out of 14 awards,
Wow,
which is a great honor. And
that's
that
a
was
great
actually,
achievement.
yeah, and this was my first time out directing a play. So not only to direct Fences, but to have that honor being nominated for it was just
And for so many awards. So now fast forward, talk about the play that you have coming up and just say everything that you need to say about it. What about the story? When is it? Where folks can get tickets? All those things.
Of course. Well, this play is called Love, Freedom, and Other Lives from the South. It's written by one of my great mentors. It's a play about two slaves on a slave plantation in Tennessee, and it's set in the year 1855. And they pretty much have to choose between staying on the plantation or running for the freedom type of thing. And there's many like other stories intertwined, and we not only learn about what went on during that time, but we it's very educational as well. Again, they this play talks about things that weren't taught in schools about slavery time. And
Right. Mm-hmm.
yep, and the play goes up January 27th to 29th and February 2nd to no, February 3rd to 5th. And it's going to be over at the Villagers Theater, 475 Demont Lane in Somerset, New Jersey. Tickets are $25. You can either get them online at our website at www.tribalinnovationstheater.org slash single hyphen project, or they could buy tickets at the door.
Right. And tell us where it will be again.
Yes, it's going to be at the Villagers Theater in Somerset, New Jersey. The address is 475 Demont Lane, Somerset, New Jersey, 08873.
Okay, so it's in Somerset, New Jersey.
Yes,
At
sir.
the yes, okay. And the first showing is on the 27th, so it's going to show on the 27th, 28th, and 29th. Is that what it is?
Yep, 27th, 28th, and 29th.
29th of January this month.
Yep, and it's a Friday, Saturday, Sunday. The Friday and Saturday night shows are going to be at 8 o'clock.
Mm-hmm.
And Sunday is going to be at 3 o'clock. And then the following weekend, which is February 3rd, 4th, and 5th, and at the same time. It's a Friday, Saturday at 8 o'clock, and that Sunday at 3.
That is awesome. So it's a play, folks. This is Jeremy. You know, he's downplaying it, but he has his own theater production company. And the first time he directed a play called Fences, he was nominated for 10 out of 14 awards. And this is his second one. And I can tell you, I attended the rehearsal and it is amazing. And so I encourage you, if you can make it, to come. If you're in New Jersey, make your way to Somerset. If you're in New York as well, you can make your way to Somerset. It's going to be shown at 8 p.m. on the 27th and the 28th, at 3 p.m. on the 29th, and then the following weekend, the first weekend in February, 3rd, 4th, and 5th, with Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Again, 8 p.m. on Friday, Saturday night, and 3 p.m. on Sunday. It's a lot of young folks. When I saw the rehearsal, there was indeed a couple, well, just one older gentleman and maybe one or two mature other actors and actresses. But the bulk of the cast are very young people, very talented. And as you said, it was created to provide an outlet, a platform for actors and artists of African descent to have a place where they can display their craft. And that is very much evident in the show. The name of the play is, correct me if I'm wrong, it's Love, Freedom, and Other Lies from the South, right?
Yes, sir.
I got it right.
Yeah. Yeah, I know it's a mouthful, but it's definitely a deep story. Talking about love, talking about freedom, and all the other lies from the South again during that time, 1855 in Tennessee.
And I can tell listeners that I know you've seen 1,000 movies and plays that are set in the South on a slavery plantation. This one is different. There,
100%.
there, there are differences in this one. This one explores more the humanity of the slaves, and it makes them look human and normal despite all the hardships that slavery brought with it. And it explores areas in the lives that are not normally dealt with in those movies. And so I encourage you, and please, to go look at it. I will see you there most likely. and it's only $25, and it's viewing on the 27th, the 28th, 27th, 28th, and 29th of January, and then the first weekend in February. So, Jerome, I want to wish you and Tribal Innovations Theater Company all the best. Folks, if you Google Tribal Innovation Theater, you will find it. You can go to their website and can navigate your way to get the tickets. Also, tickets will be on sale at the venue. So Jerome, one more minute, just encourage folks to come and talk a little bit more about the play.
Of course, of course. Yeah, this is a play about love. It's a play that is educational and teaches you so much. It takes you on a journey of the lives of an everyday life of a slave, but it has a little bit more in there. Like I said, it's definitely educational. It's love, and you definitely did not want to miss this at all.
No, certainly, it's one of those plays that folks will be talking about for weeks and months after they've seen it. I look forward to the finished product, and
Yep.
we look to have you back on to
Yep.
tell more listeners more and encourage them to see it. But
Yep.
folks, in the meantime, go on and get your tickets. Jerome, all the best, and thank you
Thank
so
you
much
so
for
much.
coming and sharing with us.
Appreciate it. Thank
So,
you.
appreciate you. Thank you so much.
Bye.
Yeah, folks, this was Jerome John. His parents are actually from Dominica. I taught at the convent high school in 1986, and I taught to Jerome's mom, Miss John. Those of you who went to convent high school will remember Miss John. So she was my colleague at the time. I was really young, but I did teach at the convent high school in 1986. So he's a son of the soil, and he's doing great things. Go out and see the production of the works, and I hope I see you there. Next on what we have for you. Remember, January is Awareness Month, and for the first 2 Wednesdays in January, we spoke about goal setting. Some people call it New Year's resolution. We prefer to refer to it as setting your goals. We spoke about how you go about setting your goals, and how you decide to pursue your goals. Last week, we had Dr. Triffy, who did a tremendous job of helping us to get in that right mental attitude and to have that real fire to pursue those goals and objectives that you set. And so one of the things that I want to do, there are a couple of things I want to do before I bring on the next guest. The Dominica Grammar School last week celebrated its 130th anniversary. The Dominica Grammar School is where I was educated. It was where I received my brilliant and tremendous high school education. And so it's an institution that's close to my heart. So happy anniversary to all my grammar school fellow alumni. Um, I left grammar school in 1984. I graduated 83. I had to go back, spend an extra year, and I left in 84. And if you imagine that Dominica Grammar School has been around for 130 years, how many of graduates that they've put forward? I'm sorry. How many graduates that they've had? Every year, maybe 100 and something people graduate. We still have 3 or 4 classes, each of them with about 30 students by 130 years. Maybe like every year when they started, they probably had smaller cohorts. However, the why I'm bringing up the grammar school is not only to wish you happy anniversary, but to mention that the motto for the Dominica Grammar School is Men Sana in Corpore Sano. I'm sure I'm butchering that. Men Sana in Corpore Sano is Latin for a sound mind in a healthy body, or a sound mind in a strong body. And so I consider the first 2 weeks that we did as taking care of the mind. And tonight I want you to take care of the body, because no matter what you achieve, how well you achieve your goals, if you do not have good health, then there's no way you can enjoy those achievements. And so tonight, my guest tonight is Mr. Cyril Browne, better known as the Indigenous Bushman. And so he's going to talk to us about having the healthiest possible body that we can, or at least starting the journey to moving from where we are to achieving our healthiest body. Before we go, I want to say, just to recognize that today 1 year ago, I lost a very special niece of mine, Miss Lucy Vigilant Smith, and just want to recognize Dwight and Angus and all her other siblings and my family as well. We lost a really beautiful soul. Well, not lost, she passed on. And so this today is 1 year anniversary of that. So I wanted to just mention that. But let's get back to the topic. Um, I want to take a quick break, and when I come back, we will be joined by Mr. Cyril Browne, the Indigenous Bushman. We'll be right back.
We are oppressed, so long we've been kept down. Remember, he said, be fruitful, rather we need more natural. Oh Lord, bring back the milk and honey. Cane juice and bush medicine. Bring back the milk and honey. Vanilla and cassava. Bring back the milk and honey. Coconut oil and castor. Bring back the milk and honey. Oh Lord.
Bring back the milk and honey by the Midnight Groovers, Chubby and his band, icons of Cadas in Dominica. And so that song tonight is very fitting to our topic. As I said, tonight I want to explore and to help us unpack the idea of having a strong body to go along with our sound mind, to help us pursue and to give us the best chance of achieving our goals. And so I have a very accomplished person, very well qualified person to speak about that because he is called the indigenous Bushman. He is also a martial artist, so he understands, I believe, the full concept in all its facets of having a strong body. So I want to extend a very warm welcome to you, Cyril, the Bushman, to this week in interview and TDN Radio. Welcome.
Thank you for having me on your show, Anthony. I appreciate the opportunity to share my knowledge of holistic health with your audience tonight.
Yes, and so I explained why I thought that you would be the perfect person because to me, the last 2 weeks we deal with the mind, encouraging people to take stock of their life where they are, decide what they want to achieve, and go about making a plan to achieve it. But for one thing, you have a hard time achieving your goals if you're not in a healthy state. And for two, even if you are able to achieve your goals, if you don't have the health, then it's almost useless because you're not able to enjoy it. So Cyril, where I want to start tonight is to really in a sort of like a holistic way. What do we mean when we say a strong body or a sound body? What do we mean?
My definition of a strong or a sound body, is a body that is capable of, uh, waking up in the morning, not, lacking energy or anything like that. Wake up in the morning, you're ready to go, and you get stuff done. You're walking around, running around with, you know, zero to probably, a little bit of pain, because everybody experiences pain at some point. But, when your body is fit, you really don't have time to feel certain pain, and you go about your business. You can, if you need to jog, if you need to walk, if you need to move around, you know, without being hindered, by, say, your joints, something in your body is aching, holding you back. Okay, so in a nutshell, a healthy body or sound body needs to be in a certain state, certain physical state where um, they could manage stressful, day-to-day situations, as far as physicality is concerned.
Right. Okay. So what are the different components per se of, how would you say it, a plan um to get ourselves to a healthier state? I mean, I know you're the Bushman, so we deal about the use of herbs in that. You're also, like I said, a martial artist, so there's an aspect of, as you say, movement and those kind of things. If for example I were to come to you and you look at, or anybody would come to you and you look at them and they say, I want to have a better body at the end of 2023, whatever that my definition or your definition of that is. What are
Mhm.
some of the components that you would ask them to focus on?
Well, some of the first questions I would ask, if they have any, excuse me, if they would have any, physical setbacks or physical drawbacks.
Hmm.
For instance, I've had some prospective clients who wanted me to train them in martial arts, and you know, uh, some of the first questions I always ask, how is your ankle? Do you have knee pain and stuff like that?
Hmm.
Uh, do you have any pain, in your hips, in your lower back, your upper back, your shoulders, your wrist, your elbows, right? Those are the main joints, right, that we need to move around with, right?
Hmm. Right.
And based on their response, I would use the information they gave me to tailor,
Hmm.
a specific workout for them, and then I would focus on wherever is ailing them the most. I would focus on that and try to strengthen it up,
Hmm.
while obviously working on the other areas of the body, but I would focus on that area first to get it up to par to meet the other parts of the body that are less strenuous, or that present less of a problem for them, and then
Right. Hmm.
start there and work on that and get it to a point where it can actually manage or sustain the rigidity of the workout that is expected of the person.
Right. Now, once you've gotten them, so that says that uh you would get design some kind of like a physical plan for them or a movement plan for them.
Hmm.
What other areas would you also focus on? Diet, nutrients, what?
Well, after that, before we even talk about nutrients and the diet part of it,
Hmm.
I would focus on their mental ability.
Okay.
Okay, because martial arts involves discipline, comprehension, because there are instructions given verbally, and sometimes there is no verbal, instructions. I would do something and ask them to do it. and then follow. So there is the mental aspect of it as well. It's not just the physical. So the
Mm-hmm.
physical needs to be in par with the mental aspect, because they have to understand what is being taught to them. Okay. They need to be able to understand left from right and up from down, and back and front and
Mm-hmm.
stuff like
Mm-hmm.
that. So the
Right.
physicality goes with the mental stability of the person and how they comprehend instructions and stuff like that.
Right. And then keep going in terms of the different aspects of that, of you know. Mhm.
And then once we get those two components, uh, on a plan, or we get to understand, all right, the physicality of it, and then the mental aspect of it. Then we start on the physical as far as training is concerned.
Mhm.
Okay, we start with a few moves, and then I kind of judge the person to see how much pressure, right, they could bear at a certain time, right? Say, for instance, if we have to work out 45 minutes, then I have to compound everything into that 45 minutes for them in the plan that I have, set up for them. And then after that first day, then I can analyze and see, where I need to adjust, if I need to boost certain areas or take it easy on other areas, and then we take it from there.
All right. So different people are going to come to you at different capabilities, different um, stages.
Hmm.
So in the audience, for example, we may have somebody who has trouble getting off their bed or getting up from their chair, or they may be recovering from an injury, or maybe they've had a limp or a bad shoulder for the longest while, right?
Hmm. Right.
um Talk to these people, talk how, because the objective may not be necessarily to get them in a martial arts program, but anybody, because last week when we had Dr. Trippi, and one of the things that she said was that you start where you are.
Hmm.
And so talk to the person who might be saying, well, it's all well and good, you're talking to folks who can go run, go jogging or kick or whatever it is. I can barely get up from the chair that I'm sitting in.
Right.
um, how do we approach that to tell everybody that what we're talking about is for them, no matter what their current condition is? They can always aspire to make their body stronger, make their body healthier.
Absolutely. And there is always a program for people, who are not very mobile,
Mm-hmm.
or for people who can't really sustain strenuous, movements. So let's say, for instance, someone's in a wheelchair, for example. Let's
Mm-hmm.
say, the person has an amputated leg and they only have one to work with. Well, if for some reason that's the matter with them, uh, we can work on the upper body. Okay, in the wheelchair, you could actually do sit-ups in a wheelchair. I've seen it done. I haven't done it, but I'm pretty sure it's doable because I've seen it done. Certain movements.
Mm-hmm.
For instance, you're in a wheelchair, as an example again. There are some things you can do with your arms, right? You can move your arms up and down, parallel, right? You can do shoulder rolls. Okay, you can work on shoulder rolls. We can work the obliques, leaning left to right. Can work the obliques, and we could also do punches, right?
Right,
Providing that that person, the only issue they have is an amputated leg and they're in a wheelchair.
right,
Or let's discuss someone who's in a wheelchair, but they may have shoulder pain, they may have neck pain, they may have lower back pain. right? It may be difficult for them to maneuver around and do certain movements. That's going to be a little more challenging, or a lot more challenging.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So there may be some lighter exercises they can do. For instance, if the person has a shoulder that's painful,
Mm-hmm.
okay, in movement. Okay, for instance, if they're not able to raise the arm like this on their own without any help, then one thing they can do is use the other hand, hold onto the arm, and bring it up, support it. Okay, bring it down, and same thing with the other side. Okay, you can always do simple little things like this. All right,
Right.
providing they have shoulder issues. Now, if they have lower back pain, that's going to be a little more difficult because you're sitting
Mm-hmm.
constantly all the
Right.
time.
Uh-huh.
There is pressure on your pelvic area. If it's a guy, his prostate is under pressure all the time. If it's a female, her reproductive organs are constantly under pressure. It's a very sedentary situation to be in, so it's a little bit harder with the lower back. The
Right.
lower back, if you have pain down there and you sit in all the time, whether you're in your bed or in a wheelchair, it doesn't have to be a wheelchair only, but I'm just using that as an example. For lower back pain, okay, you have shoulder issues as well. You can rest your arms on your thighs, okay, and you can twist left to right slowly, and that will actually help relieve the pain down there in your lower back. And you go left to right without any pressure on your shoulders.
Right.
Okay, so that's another way for the people who are
Who have
not
some
so.
kind of limitation in terms of their physical movement.
Yes.
Yeah. So I have to take a quick break. We're
Mhm.
going to take a break here from the sponsors. When we come back, if you have anything additional on fitness and physical movement, we can talk about that. But I'm anxious to go into the intake part. What we put in our mouths is so impactful on our general condition that I want to spend some time on that. So let's take a quick break, get a word from the sponsors, and we'll be right back.
Presented by. People say I've got a great smile. Well, I have to say, this is all thanks to the professional team at Beacon Dental Group right here in Dorchester, Massachusetts. I've got world-class dental care. Beacon Dental Group has expert and caring staff dedicated to providing the most advanced and satisfactory treatment in all aspects of oral health. Their services are designed to meet your needs and give you a perfect smile, too. General checkups, cosmetic surgery, Gemini laser service, and advanced procedures, all in a state-of-the-art facility. Call or visit Beacon Dental Group today, 1026 Blue Hill Avenue, Dorchester, Massachusetts, or call 617-282-2146 for a smile that lights the world.
If you live in Canada, the US, and the UK and are looking for Dominica products including cocoa sticks, bay rum, coffee, soaps, crafts, and other popular Dominica items, then look no further. You can now shop on BuyDominicaOnline.com, a secure, easy-to-navigate website selling a wide variety of Dominica-made and Dominica-inspired products. When you shop on BuyDominicaOnline.com, you are helping to grow Dominica's economy. Go to BuyDominicaOnline.com and enjoy home away from home.
Looking to promote your business, engage current customers, and reach new people? Well, look no further. From the basic presentation to a fully fledged advertisement, use your video ads to attract customers. At Man's Audiovisual Productions, we do just that. We produce videos for business and event promotions, product demo videos, animated explainer videos, fundraiser ads, and much, much more. Engage your clients and sell online. We customize the video to match your brand design. Guaranteed to play flawless on all devices, including smart TVs. Contact us at telephone number 203-690-4342 or 767-245-6238. Visit our website, mansaudiovisual.com, or email us at derekvideo@gmail.com.
Hey, it's Alyssa J, and I'm going to be on Dissect on January 21st at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time and 8 p.m. Caribbean Time. Make sure you tune in at the Island Therapy YouTube page, as well as the Island Therapy Facebook page and tdntv.net. See you there.
All right, welcome back. I want to say thank you to our sponsors, Beacon Dental Health by DominicaOnline.com, Man's Audiovisual. They do all our graphic work. They partner with us all the time. They can do it from your flyers all the way to a full-fledged production. Look up for them, Man's Audiovisual, Man's with a double N, M-A-N-N, Man's Audiovisual. You won't regret the work that they do for you. They're very, very professional. My guest tonight is Cyril Browne. He is known as the Indigenous Bushman. And I brought him on because tonight we're focusing on the body. The body is the vehicle, is the tool that you use to pursue your objective and your goals. Even if you want in a chair writing it down, if you're thinking about it, the fact is that you have to have the energy to wake up in the morning. You have to have the motivation to stay pursuing it. And you have to, most of us have to get up and go out and get it. And so we give our goals the best chance of being achieved by having a body that can support our quest for our goals. And what we were saying before the break was that the idea is to make progress towards improving your condition, no matter what condition you are in. The objective is to improve the condition. So if in general, most of us are average, but we kind of lazy to get up in the morning. We, at the end of the night, we pass out in our bed. We fall asleep at every chance we get. How do you increase your energy level to really increase your go-getter? If you have a little too much weight, what can you do to get yourself a little more fit? If you have high blood pressure or diabetes or any one of those chronic illnesses, you have painful joints, you have arthritis, what can you do to make your life more pleasant by increasing the condition of your body? And so we have Mr. Cyril Browne, who is an expert in both the intake part in terms of he calls himself the Bushman. So I imagine he has a whole host of information about the herbs and the healing powers of the herbs and how it can support your general conditioning. And he's also a martial arts expert. And so he can help us to think about how we can improve our own physical condition. So, Cyril, I want us to get to the part where we are using herbs. But when I say herbs, I don't just mean like we go pick a couple of leaves, or you will tell me, and make a tea. I'm thinking about our food, you know, what we take into our body in general. How do you approach that? To me, let's say I come to you and you say, my grandparents used to give me bush tea and stuff when I was young, but now I want to get back on track. Same thing I ask you about physicality. How do you go about helping me to get on track with taking in healthy stuff?
Before I get into that part of it, I always want to remind everyone, and I have to say this as an herbalist, that I am not a doctor or a medical professional.
Right.
I am an herbal chemist, holistic
Okay.
health educator, and a researcher. I do not prescribe meds, nor do I provide medical advice. My work is informational and educational. Okay, so someone contacts me, hey Bushman, I have a headache, right? We're just going to use headache as an example.
Sure.
I have a headache. Well, first of all, there are about 9 different types of headaches, and for headaches, different herbs will work based on the type of headache the person is experiencing.
Right.
Okay, and each body is different. Each body is going to respond differently to the same herb. Okay, that
Right.
would most likely take care of the problem that they have in. So I like to have a consultation. I always do a consultation. I don't just sell you a bag of herb and you go on your way. I want you to get well. So I gather information in the consultation, and I ask certain questions to determine exactly, to pinpoint the issue to the best of my ability. That way I could go ahead and set up a good plan for what is ailing you specifically. Okay, not just, oh, I have a headache and then here, take some ginger. The ginger may not work. The person may need skull cap, or the person may need cayenne. Okay, but we have to know exactly what type of headaches. Is it a cluster headache? Is it a migraine headache? Is it a sinus headache? You know what I mean?
Right.
So that's where the consultation part comes in, to find out exactly what's going on
Right.
before we move on to say, hey, take this herb
Take
for it.
this or take that. Now, in terms of general support of general good health, for example, um, if somebody would say, okay, you have to take care of your eyes, you have to take care of your circulation, you have to take care of your heart, you
Mhm.
have to take care of your joints. Where does somebody start trying to untangle
Right.
what kind of herbs or natural medication that can help them in just staying healthy?
Well, before they even do that, there are a few things that we have to keep in mind.
Right.
Person is at a certain stage in life where they beginning to get ill, right?
Right.
Things are starting to happen in their body that they don't understand. Okay. So the first thing, very important, that we need to pay attention to is what we eat, what we put in our mouth. The second thing is, how much do we eat? The third thing is, what time of the day that we eat. And last but not least, the frequency of our meals. That's very, very, so very important.
Can you go through each one of those? I know everybody is different, but can you go through each one of those in general?
Yes. Yeah. And again, each body is different. All right, guys. So this is more of a general analysis there, if you will. Okay. So pay attention to what you eat. Okay. We eat way too much junk. Not junk food, just junk, because junk is not food. You have food and you
And you
have
have junk.
junk.
So you're not calling it junk food, you're just
No,
calling it junk.
because
Okay.
food is food.
All right, I get
And
that.
junk is junk. So we eat way too much junk. Okay, because junk, what they call junk food, is loaded with overly processed sugars. Overly processed sugars, which brings on the onset of diabetes and liver disease. Okay, so when one consumes excess sugar, and our sugars should come from our food, melons, papayas, mangoes, and stuff like that, fruits. That's where our sugars should come from, sugar cane. Consuming excess sugar leads to insulin resistance, right? And insulin resistance is a precursor to type 2 diabetes, a fatty liver, and cardiovascular disease. Okay, and once you get to that point, type 2 diabetes can harm the blood vessels in your heart, in your brain, and in your kidneys. Okay, and that could also cause, high cholesterol. The cholesterol levels to go higher than normal. So when you figure out what to eat, okay, what to eliminate from your diet or your food regimen, I would prefer to call it, because I don't like the word diet. You figure out what to filter out, right? What's causing high cholesterol, like pork, beef, canola oil, all those bad omega-6 oils, right? When we need omega-3s, which is the healthy fats. And we get that from, avocados. Avocados have a lot of omega-3s. And for some of us who like to eat fish, we have the smaller fish like sardines and tuna and herring, right? That have healthy fats in them. And we can do those. Okay. The next thing is the time of day that we eat. Okay. For me, when I wake up in the morning, I wake up really early. First thing I do is make a cup of tea. And I have a lot of herbs, so I have a lot of options. Okay. I drink a cup of tea before I do anything else.
Typically, what kind of tea do you drink? Right.
In the morning, when one wakes up, the body is a little bit warm, right? Because you have slept over the night. Your body temperature is warm, but once you wake up, when you start moving around, then you develop what is called a cold constitution. Okay, your body now starts getting cold because you've digested all your food over the night. Your liver has done all its detoxification, so now you need to warm your body up. Okay, so I may go for ginger tea, or I may go for something like moringa tea, or I may do some cinnamon. Okay, but there are mornings when you wake up and your body is warm and you're hot and you want to cool it down. Then you can go for something like hibiscus, or you could go for something like where is it? Chamomile, which is another cooling herb. It tames things down. Or you could go for some vervain, which is another cooling herb. Okay, and then what you normally want to do, and I'm speaking from experience, after I've had my cup of tea in the morning, I don't eat until I have eliminated. I have to clear my bowels before I eat anything in the morning, and the warm tea will help break that down and let it out of my system. So the time of day you eat, okay, in general, you want to plan your breakfast within an hour or so after waking up, because now your body is ready to receive food. You have eliminated all the waste and all that stuff, right? That way, and it depends on when you wake up too, right? So we have to be mindful of when you wake up. If you wake up 11:30 in the morning, I mean, that's not breakfast anymore. That's a lunch. All right. But,
Right.
if you wake up 6, 7 o'clock early morning, a typical day. Okay. Uh, the reason you want to eat about an hour after you've waken up is to not blend any morning snacks into that space and time. Okay. Like some people eat a second breakfast and then they have lunch and then they have a snack, then they have dinner. Okay. So that's a good gauging mechanism, so to speak. You wake up, you take your tea. Some people drink water in the morning, and that's what works for them, and it's fine. Some people cannot drink tea, and that is understandable. Some people like some warm water with lemon in there, and that's what does it for them. And that's perfectly all right, because each body is different. Okay. So when you measure, okay, the time that you take your meals, it gives your body a chance to metabolize and break down the food that you eat. Okay, the food is going to have most likely protein and fat, those are needed. And there's always going to be sugar and sodium and starch, right? Those are always going to be, in your food somewhere. Okay, so we'll give your body enough time to break down the food, metabolize everything, and get you ready for your next meal. Now, some people go 2, 3, 4 times, 5 times a day. Some people go once. Okay. Now, after you've had breakfast, and that's generally speaking, after you've had breakfast, lunch should be about 4, maybe 5 hours after breakfast, because that gives your body a chance to break down the breakfast and then relax. Those muscles need to relax. Okay, your abdominal muscles, they need to relax. You need to give your organs a, a chance to chill out after you've eaten, because once you eat, everything expands. Okay, you have to give it time to contract back into place and let it rest.
Right.
Okay, so that's why you should give yourself a few hours before you eat lunch after breakfast. So as an example, if you have breakfast at 7, try about 11, 12-ish to eat your lunch. Okay, but again, if that's not something that you're accustomed of doing and you're just starting off, do not force the point. Take your time.
And work your way towards that.
Yes, work your way up to that, because it's not easy. Your taste buds are going to be like, hey, you always eat ice cream about 10 o'clock, and today you're not eating ice cream. What's wrong? Your body's going to respond to that. So it takes time. Have patience, but you need consistency.
Right.
You can't give up because you have a goal. You set a goal, like, all right, I'm going to try this because what I'm doing at the present moment is not working for me.
Right.
Okay. The other thing is try really hard. And that's everyone that could hear my voice. And that is important. Try really hard to not eat right before bed. Try to not eat right before bed, and I'll tell you why. Even if each body is different, if you eat right before bed, you're overworking your liver, because at night, while you are asleep, or you should be asleep at night, your liver is working, it's doing repair work. Your liver is detoxifying your body. Okay. Say, for instance, you have damaged tissue, or you have bruises somewhere, you have a cut somewhere, or you have a burn somewhere. All that healing takes place at night while you sleep. Now, if you eat right before bed, what's going to happen is, and every time you eat, you get a sugar spike, right? And once you get a sugar spike, your pancreas is going to activate and shoot insulin to keep the sugar from getting too high. And now your liver is going to forget all the repair work and all the detoxification that it should be doing, and it's going to attend to that glucose you just introduced to your body. And now the liver is not doing the cleanup work it should be doing. So that's the reason it's very, very, very important to not eat right before bed. That's something that has to be worked on.
So like if somebody is noticing that maybe when they get a cut or a scratch or a bruise, it takes a little longer to heal, that may be something they can focus on, that their liver is not getting the chance to focus on healing because it's working on digesting food and dealing with blood sugar. Okay.
That could be it. That could be a reason, providing the person is not full-blown diabetic.
Right.
Because if they're full-blown diabetic and they have a cut, a sore, it may never heal. So, but providing they are not diabetic and they see that that wound is taking longer than normal to heal, and they're eating at night, right before bed, that could well be the problem.
Right. Okay. So when you wake up, take your chauffeur less stomach, like my parents used to say, and drink your little bush tea, have breakfast. Try to have a gap of 4 to 5 hours between breakfast and lunch. And then your last meal of the night, of the day, should be what? 2 hours, 3 hours before bed?
About 3 to 4 hours before bed.
About 3 to 4 hours before bed.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
And then what you can do before bed, what my mom used to do for me that I never ever forgot, all those lessons she taught me as a child. Every night we would get a cup of bush tea. Every single night, Anthony, we would get a cup of herbal tea. No nights get skipped. Every night we had, and we would sleep very soundly.
Right.
We'd go to
Right.
sleep and wake up feeling really refreshed, ready to roll. I mean, as a young person, you when you wake up, you're ready to go anywhere, right? You're full
Right.
of energy.
So you eat your dinner
Mhm.
about 4 hours before you go to bed. And then you can drink some tea like an hour before, but with no sugar. Is that what it is?
It depends. Each person is different. Each body is
Mhm.
different. Some people are okay with sugar, a little bit of sugar.
Mhm.
Okay. Some people cannot take sugar at night, and you shouldn't. You really should not take a lot of sugar. Again, you get a glucose spike
Right.
to take sugar,
Right.
right? That you're going to get a little spike. It may not harm you, but it's going to spike, and then your pancreas is going to activate again insulin. Your liver again is going to, attend to that.
Right. So a lot of people get used to having sweet taste on their mouth, on their
Mhm.
tongue. How do you go about having folks address that? To maybe retrain your taste buds not to expect, or your brain not to get accustomed to having that sweetness in your tea, in your jams that you eat, and your pastries. And how do people go about managing that?
That's a hard one, and I can speak from experience. It took me a while to adjust to sugars, and I've been working on myself personally for the last 18 years, and nonstop. And that was one of the hardest things to get rid of, right? Okay, so you're accustomed to tasting sugar, okay? Excuse me. You For instance, let me give you an example. Tomato ketchup has a lot of sugar, but you really don't taste it. You mostly taste the salt and the other chemicals in there, but it has a lot of sugar because it takes a lot of sugar to preserve food, way more sugar than you would use salt. Okay, so it takes a
Right.
lot of sugar.
Mm-hmm.
But what I would advise people to get off that sugar train, right? You have to retrain your taste buds. You
Mm-hmm.
have to fight it. Okay, you have to write what you want to do. Write it down. Say, for instance, all right, for this month, I want to intake less sugar, but my taste buds won't let me. So you keep a calendar or a journal and you write down how much sugar you're going to use, okay, per day, or if you're going to use honey. So you want to eliminate white sugars. And by the way, there are like tens and tens of different sugars. Okay, sugar is just like the common name.
Mm-hmm.
You have fructose, you have glucose, you have dextrose. I mean, there's a bunch of them. So you wanna keep a journal, and if you are accustomed to putting a tablespoon of sugar in your tea, in your herbal tea that you're destroying with that sugar, what you want to do, you want to wean yourself off of that, and you want to use a teaspoon which is a third of a tablespoon. You want to now drop it down, because if you just stop abruptly, it's going to cause confusion in your brain. And you may just jump right back into your tablespoon of sugar. All right. So you put a teaspoon, you eliminate the white sugar, you get some honey, you get brown sugar, and you put a teaspoon. Now you're working with a teaspoon of sugar. Okay. And you give that some time and you let it build up. And then, okay, you're going to start feeling it. Then you go less and less and less sugar. And one time, just tell yourself, hey, I'm going to really try to drink this cup of herbal tea. That's going to help me health wise, and drink some of it without sugar, and let me see how my brain will receive it. And you have to have determination. You need to have determination. You need to have a plan. You need to have discipline. You need to tell yourself, if this is what I want, I am going to work on it. It doesn't just happen. You have to work on it slowly but surely. You got
And
to
the
work
truth is
on it.
that once you give your body a chance, it will adjust.
Yes.
It will
Yes.
adjust. Cyril, in terms of your frequency of eating, there is a lot of folks who talk about fasting, different types of fasting. Fast every other day. And in fact, Tanya is putting that question. What are your thoughts on the latest craze of intermittent fasting? Is it recommended?
Fasting is very good. And I have fasted for 14 days straight. And let me explain that. When I say fast, no cooked food, no solid food. It was just water, herbal teas, natural juices, right? Not store-bought juices, natural juices, and vegetable soups. Nothing hard. Everything just liquidy, right? For 14 days. No bread, no dasheen, no tanya, no green bananas, no plantain, none of that stuff. Okay, 14 days, good. Day number 5, man, I'm like, I have to eat. I did not, because it gets to that point where you get tested. And once you overcome that temptation, man, the next level, you feel so good. You were accomplishing something. So intermittent fasting, coming back to the person who posted the question, intermittent fasting is good. Okay, where you could have some problems though when you fast is if your blood sugar tends to drop, because you need sugar. Your brain needs sugar. Your brain has to have sugar. If you don't get enough sugar in your system, your brain is going to shut down. Okay, so you have to be mindful of when you are not eating. So, what do you do before you go on a fast? I would recommend go to a doctor, get some blood work done, know where your glucose levels are, and take it from there. Start there, because you don't want to hurt yourself. Okay, if you don't get enough sugar in your brain, you're going to start feeling woozy, right? Then you may get blurry vision and stuff like that, because your sugar levels are too low. Okay, so be careful if you want to go on a fasting regimen, whether it's intermittent or it's a whole week without anything. I would suggest that you go see a medical doctor and let them know what your plan is, and do some blood work. Know where you are, know where your blood uh, glucose levels are at the time.
What are some of the benefits of fasting?
Good question. One of the benefits of fasting is that it teaches you discipline, and one of the really good things about fasting is that it helps you clear your mind, because now you have very little food in here, right? Your organs are relaxed. Okay, there is no tension. And then it actually clears your mind. I've done it. I've fasted for 14 days. You become so calm. You become so cool. You become so collective. Your inner vibrations become so high, and you radiate a certain level of frequencies that people are drawn to you in a good way. People actually are drawn to you. My experience with fasting for 14 days, it's done that for me. It has helped me uh, to clear my mind, to just be at peace in myself. Just me, just me and my peace within. Okay, so it has done that for me. The other thing, um, as mental wise, not physical wise, right? It helps your organs, your digestive system that works so hard, because every time you eat, man, your digestive system is working, it's working, it's working. You have to give it a break. Your digestive system is going to really love you when you give it a break. It's going to
So,
love you.
so what period? Okay, so after somebody has checked their doctor and they decide, they make the decision that a fasting might be something that works for them.
Hmm.
I know there are different types of fasting, but as say, like some people say, okay, I will go 12 hours without eating every day, or a certain period every other day. I will stretch the time between my meals and so on. What what are some of the things that would include like a decent fasting regimen?
Are you asking what types of foods?
What type of, well, in terms of time periods, foods as
Time
well,
periods.
if there's
Okay.
foods, but what time periods? Yeah.
Okay. In between when you ingest whatever it is.
Right. When you deprive your body of food, is there like a
Okay.
minimum length of time to make it even qualify as a fast?
Again, it depends.
Hmm.
It depends. Some people would eat 2 meals per day, where they
Hmm.
normally used to eat 3 meals and two snacks or whatever, and they could break it down. Um, you wake up in the morning, you drink your tea, you you eat some fruit, right? And don't eat cold fruit in the morning because your body needs to warm up. Um, you eat some fruit, and then you're gonna feel hungry. I'm telling you, especially with fruit. If you eat a whole fruit salad in the morning, in an hour or so, you are going to feel hunger pains. You drink some tea, or you crank up your juicer. Okay, you prep. Okay, you get your carrots, you get your citrus, you get your ginger, you get some turmeric, and you get some powdered cinnamon, and you have everything there, so you can do that. So let's say, for instance, you wake up in the morning and you juice a green juice. You do a green juice, right? And you drink that. You can, and you're fasting, give yourself a few hours. Okay. Again, you have to have discipline though, because you are going to feel hungry, and then you're trying to reach for something. Drink some water. At that point, you feel like, hey, I want to eat. Drink some water. Drink some herbal tea. Give yourself a few hours, and then you make another smoothie or whatever else you're making, whatever you plan out for your day. All right, few hours, and you could do that for the rest of the day. Do not eat right before bed, even if you're fasting.
Right.
So a few
Uh-huh.
hours in between could suffice. Again, each body is
So again,
different,
is
so
is giving your body less than it's accustomed to, is in
less than
general
it's
term.
accustomed to. Very
Okay.
good.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Couple other questions before we have to close. Men and women.
Hmm.
Um, a lot of our women get fibroids.
Right.
A lot of our women suffer, not suffer, but experience symptoms of menopause. do you have any general herb that might soothe or even menstrual cramps or something? Do you have any herbs although everybody is different, but in general, that may help alleviate some of those distresses for women? Fibroids especially is so rampant among our folks.
Yeah, fibroids for some reason have been destroying our sisters lately, man. As of late, it's really terrible. It's a horrible thing. Sisters with fibroids, um, there are different herbs that sisters could use, and I work with some clients who have fibroids, and they've been getting great results. One of the herbs is ginger. Ginger is pretty good. Now we have to bear in mind that uh, as a chemist, as an herbal chemist, right? Uh, you you formulate herbal blends, right, to do a specific job,
Mhm.
which one herb by itself cannot actually do the job. Even the herb is good for taking care of, say, the fibroids like ginger, right? But when you mix it with turmeric, right, and you throw some uh, soursop leaves, toss some soursop leaves in there, you get stuff like burdock and barberry root, right? And you formulate, okay, and you formulate a good herbal blend. It will be more, excuse me, it will be more effective than if you just use ginger by itself or the cinnamon bark by itself,
Right.
right?
Okay.
So that's where, that's why I come in as an herbal chemist, and that's what I do.
Chemist.
I formulate
Right.
herb blends to for stuff
This
like
this
that.
might be a good chance to tell the audience where they can find you, where they can contact you, for one-on-one consultation.
Yeah, you can reach me at my phone number. It's 904-729-5571 is my business line.
Say
And
it
you
again.
can 904-729-5571.
Okay.
And you can WhatsApp me, or you can send me a text message. And you can also reach me on my Facebook page, Indigenous Bushman, and you can send me a DM, and we can talk.
Okay. So do you have anything that for somebody who is, in general, again, each person is different, but in general, somebody who may be having menstrual cramps or hot flashes? I know those two
Yes.
different conditions, but yeah.
Oh yeah, definitely. Passion flower.
That's the
You know.
flower with passion fruit, right?
Yes, the passion fruit.
Yes.
The passion fruit
Mhm.
vine. You
Mhm.
have the purple one, and then you have the white. I'm gonna call it white, the one that's not purple. Those
Mhm.
flowers before they start, before the fruit starts
The fruit.
actually,
Mhm.
developing. You can pick those flowers. And also there is an herb, cleavers. Okay, that's cleavers powder. That's pretty good for that. Cinnamon is pretty good for menstrual cramps. Ginger is good. Ginger is always good. Now, if a cautionary word about cinnamon, right? Cinnamon will increase uh, menstrual bleeding, even if it's good for the cramps. So if you are having some excess menstrual bleeding, you probably don't want to use cinnamon too much.
Right.
Okay,
Right.
and that's where people like me come in, where we could formulate.
That's where the consultation comes in.
Yes, exactly.
Yes.
There you
All right.
go. You can still have the
Now,
cinnamon, but at very very little portions.
very little. Right. So folks, I encourage you to reach out to the Bushman. You get a consultation, and I'm sure there is something that he can recommend, even if it's just to have a delicious tea to take in the morning and at bedtime. For the men, especially a lot of the men in my audience are slightly older, and they have concerns about their prostate, one, and they also have concerns about their libido and their sex drive, and their ability to have sex. What in general can you recommend to the men?
First things first, guys. For your prostate, go to the doctor. Do some blood work. Know where your numbers are. That's the first move before you can even before the doctor gives you medication for your prostate if you need it.
Yeah,
Even before,
not to interrupt you, but that is something we stress every year.
yes.
We tell men to go and get your prostate checked. We tell women to go to your OBGYN doctor. And we
Yes.
tell them to do their colonoscopy every 4 to 5 years, or consult their doctor to tell them how frequently you need to do it. We stress that all the time. But
All the
go ahead
time.
and talk to men about their prostate.
Yes, gentlemen. Go to the doctor, get blood work done because most of you don't like the finger, and that's fine. Nothing wrong with that. You can do some blood work. Okay, know where your numbers are for your prostate. Then you could start talking to your doctor or your herbalist about about a plan to maintain the size of your prostate so it doesn't swell bigger. Because when you have a swollen prostate, it's really, really, really embarrassing. It's an embarrassing thing when your prostate is swollen. You can't pee. You always want to pee, and you just can't. It just won't come out. And you're forcing, and those muscles are working extra hard. Now, um, if you have a swollen prostate, guys, don't sit too much. Don't be too sedentary. It puts pressure on your pelvic floor. And guess where your prostate is? Just right there where you sit, and your prostate is right down there. And you're putting pressure on it. If you observe, and I like to pay attention to my body, men in general, when you want to pee and you're sitting down, that posture, that position actually not stop, but it hinders the pee from coming. As soon as you stand up, boom, the sensation comes, right? Because there is pressure down there. All right. So go to the doctor, check your prostate, make sure it's good. If it's not okay, then you start on a plan. If you want to take drugs, it's up to you. You have a choice. Your health is your responsibility, like I always say. Some people don't like dealing with herbalists, but that's fine. That's your choice, and that's fine too. But I still want you guys to go and check the prostate. It's important. Your prostate is swollen. It's hard to satisfy your lady. It is very, very hard to satisfy your lady with a really swollen prostate. Prostate cancer will kill you if you don't take care of it. I see it all the time. I'm a researcher. I research a lot. Every day I'm doing research. I'm coming across statistics. Man, we are failing when it comes to our prostate and when it comes to our general health. Fellas, we have to do better. The women are beating us when it comes to health and checking the health and keeping it in check and being more motivated to staying healthy. Guys, we have to do better. Seriously, your prostate is important. If you lose your prostate, you can't satisfy your queen. There's nothing you can do for your queen at that moment when you had a chance to fix the problem. Okay. And so just because if for instance your prostate is swollen, it doesn't mean that you have prostate cancer. Okay. It doesn't mean that. It's just swollen, because some people do okay with a swollen prostate as long as it doesn't swell big enough to constrict the urethra to a point where, your urine doesn't pass out, doesn't come out. And some people live pretty much okay with their prostate swollen. It just, they just maintain, solid health and make sure they're on top of their prostate every year. Go do your general checkup. Take your herbs if you're using herbs. Get your turmeric, mix it up with ginger. All right, get some cayenne, because what those herbs do, those are hot, fiery herbs, right? What they do is they expand the blood vessels to allow more blood flow, increase circulation, right? Cayenne pepper, right? Increase circulation. You can make cayenne tea. You can put cayenne in your food. You can sprinkle some powdered cayenne on your salad. It expands those blood vessels. It increases circulation. You have herbs like ginkgo, like feverfew. Feverfew is a really good herb. It's good for headaches too, right? Herbs like ginger, cayenne, like I said before, those are hot herbs and they will help, right? Expand those blood vessels, because for your penis to get an erection, you need blood to flow down there. All right.
Right.
And if your
And
prostate
so
is
give out your
swollen,
number again. I want you to give out your number again, because I'm sure you have those herbs that you mentioned, and you have the good quality herbs, not necessarily what you might pick up in any store
right?
that may have been there for 10 years, or may not be kept in a sanitary condition, and so on. And of course, if they consult with you, you can actually give them in proportion that would make sense in terms of blending the different herbs. So I want you to give out your number again.
Area code 904-729-5571. And you
Right.
could always find
All
me
right.
on Facebook, Indigenous Bushman, and
And
I'm right there.
do a DM.
Yeah.
Certainly. Yeah. So, we could go on all night, but the thing about it is that I think we've gotten the message to the folks. You want the strongest body that you can have possible. So you start where you are. If you're young and springy, you want to maintain that and even enhance it. If you're starting having challenges, you want to arrest that and reverse it as much as possible.
Yes.
If you're already at a state where it's starting to affect you, you can look for some improvements. And it involves paying attention to what you eat, being aware of what you eat. We declared January Awareness Month. So being aware of where you are. Go to your doctor. Find out where you are. That's all what the Bushman has been telling you. And when you find out where you are, you can contact him. Do a consultation. He will get some information from you and he will help guide you. Not as a doctor. He says he's a herbal chemist.
Yes.
And we all of us grew up with the knowledge that our parents used to go out in the yard and pick leaves to help us to ameliorate, to alleviate most of the ills that struck us at the time. And so we know that there's some benefit to be had. We know there's tremendous benefit possible. So listeners, that is where we are. You want to have the best and strongest body that you can have. You start where you are. You cannot say, boys, no, you start where you are. Because our body is very forgiving. We could have abused our bodies for 10 years and we discipline and try something for 1 month and we're amazed at how well our body will respond, I want to say. So we are pretty much flat out of time. We've taken an extra, we've indulged in taking an extra half hour of your time, Cyril. I want you to just wrap it up. Put everything in a nutshell about folks having that sound mind in a strong body. Or we can reverse it. Have a strong mind in a strong body. Have a sound mind in a strong body. Either one you want to put it. The two of them go hand in hand.
Yes.
And optimally, you get optimal results.
Yeah, absolutely. And I want to end with my story just a little bit, just so people understand. I use my experience to explain to people how certain things go. 12 years
Mhm.
ago, 12 years ago, I was involved in an auto accident, and I will truncate it so I don't take up too much time. I
No,
was
no, no,
involved
that's
in a
okay. Go
really
ahead.
bad car accident, and
Mhm.
went to the hospital. They did X-rays. They had me on pain meds. I had to have pain meds because my spine was damaged. I ended up with two degenerated discs in my neck. I had serious back pain. I spent the night in the hospital. I went home the next day, and the first morning that I woke up after I went home, I couldn't get out the bed on my own. Okay, at that time, I was already training in martial arts. I was already a black belt in martial arts. And I went through therapy. I started seeing a chiropractor. I went to the chiropractor. He did x-rays. And he said, all right, I will call you when the x-ray results are ready. He calls me in. I go to his office and I walk in there. He looks at the x-ray results and he looks at me and he looks at it and looks at me. And he's like, how did you get to the office and you're not in a wheelchair? That was his question to me because the results of the x-ray, right, showed that I should have been in a wheelchair rolling into his office for treatment. And he was astonished, like, what's going on with you? Then we started talking and we talking. And when I told him I'm a martial artist, he said, oh, you are physically active. That's why you're not in a wheelchair at this moment. And when he showed me the x-ray, I still have a copy of my x-ray. My spine was badly busted up, and I did physical therapy, chiropractic care, no drugs, herbs, physical therapy, chiropractic care. 3 years. I did 3 years straight because I knew what I wanted. I could not be on drugs. I don't like drugs. That's all I did for 3 years. And now, 10, 12 years later, no degenerated disc. My spine is aligned. My shoulders were like this. My right shoulder was down. This one was up. And now I have like zero pain. I could do anything physically that I want to. And that was it. No drugs, just herbs, physical therapy, chiropractic care. Okay. Real short, truncated. And that is why I want to encourage everyone who's listening to me, find a way to start exercising. Like Anthony said, start where you are. Start where you are. Find somebody who works out, go whether it's at the gym or they do it at home or wherever. Find somebody who's going to help you and motivate you to keep moving, because when you move, your lymph is going to move, because every time you move your muscles, your lymph moves up back to your heart, and then your heart pushes it back out to the blood, where it goes to the kidneys and the liver, and then it comes out as urine and feces, right? But if you don't move, your lymph is going to stagnate and stay in your body. You're going to get it's going to be stagnant. You're going to get tired. You'll be always fatigued. You will be always drained. You won't have any energy. So exercise. Find a way to exercise. I have an exercise program that I'm doing on Zoom. Contact me. Let's talk about it. See if that fits what you want to do. And I don't go to the gym. I do all my workout at home. I use my body weight to train. I don't lift weights. If I do, it's very little. I use my body weight to train. That's it. Very simple, and it works.
Awesome. Give out your number one last time, because I really want
Nine,
folks to get in touch with you.
get in touch with me. Let's talk. If what I have to offer is not for you, very good. No problem. My number is 904 729 5571.
All right, the Indigenous Bushman. I thank you so much for your time. You were generous. You stayed an extra 35 minutes with us, and I so appreciate you for that. And wellness is huge for us at TDN and at this week in interview. So I want to just tell you thank you. We spoke about people getting more active. If you're laying on your bed and it's difficult to get up, try to lift your arms, try to lift your legs. Start there. Next week you'll be getting off the bed. You know, if you don't exercise at all, take a walk one day in the week. Try and plan to increase it to 2 days in 2 weeks or 3 weeks time. Just do more than you're doing now, and you will be amazed at the result. If you don't pay too much attention to what you eat, just start paying attention to what you eat. Every time you put some bread in your mouth, ask if it's good for you. What else could I eat besides the bread? If you drink sodas, every time you put a soda in, what could I be drinking instead of soda? Can I drink water? So if you drink 3 sodas a day, start with drinking 2 and a glass of water instead, and just work your way down. The idea is to start where you are, set a goal, and just work your way towards it. You'll be surprised how quickly you will benefit from that. So combine what you intake to what you output, and you are going to have that strong body that's going to work with that mental, and you're going to achieve what you set out to achieve in 2023. Cyril, thanks once again. And I was so happy when I was told that you agreed to come on. And this was not disappointing. This was a tremendously wonderful conversation. So thank you.
Appreciate it. Thank you, sir.
All right. Well, folks, there you had it. As I said, it was going to be a brilliant conversation. The Indigenous Bushman. So calm, but yet so he came across as very comfortable in his field, both in terms of physical movement, but also in terms of nutrition. And don't forget, folks, the Dominica Cancer Society is organizing a breakfast. Let me see if I can get the date. I think it's on the 3rd, is it? I have it in my notes somewhere. On the 4th of February. On the 4th of February, they have a breakfast. We've had members from the Cancer Society on the show, and we know the tremendous work that they do, so support them. And I would appeal to you, even if you're not in Dominica and you cannot make it to the breakfast, buy a ticket. Maybe it will spawn, maybe they have a cancer survivor who cannot make it, and that ticket will go to them. So on the 4th of February, the Dominica Cancer Society is having a fundraising breakfast. They have tickets at their office, or Miss Yvonne Alexander, I think Miss Claudia Bellot. These other folks, members of the Cancer Society, will have tickets. So I want you to support them. Don't forget to check out Tribal Innovations Theater Company, young director of Dominican origin, has his own theater company, and he's putting on a tremendous play, Love, Freedom, and Other Lies from the South. It's set on a slave plantation, but it deals with issues and aspects that's not generally dealt with on those movies and plays that we've seen about slavery. If you're in the Jersey area, I encourage you to go and check it out. Don't forget that you can find SBE Radio in Toronto is now carrying some of our programming, including this week in interview. They can be found on sbemusic.com. In Dominica, RVR Jams Radio on DigiPlay Channel 59 carries this week in interview. So check them out. And so, folks, that's it. That's the continuation of our awareness, January awareness. If you have any plans for any activities, check out Man's Audio Visual. They do a lot of the graphic work, camera work. They can show up and with their cameras and broadcast your event live. If you're having a funeral, they can show up and have your funeral live, so your family members can see it online. or wedding or graduation or birthday party, whatever it is, big or small, they have the capabilities to show up and do a very professional job. Beacon Dental, if you're in the Boston area, go check them out. If you show up for the first time, tell them I sent you and you'll get a free cleaning. And of course, buy dominicaonline.com. I hope you took advantage to give Dominican gifts to your folks for Christmas and for New Year's. If you haven't, check them out. And so I want to just thank you so much for being there. We'll see you again next week for another program of This Week in Interview. In the meantime, stay aware, set your goals, and determine to get your body in a condition where you are pursuing your goals with vigor and with energy. So good night, folks. This has been This Week in Interview. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel on Facebook and YouTube, and hit that notification button so you can know when we're on. So it's TDN Network 1 on YouTube, and of course the Facebook page is TDN Radio Facebook page. Good night.